Hey guys, Trevin here, Gear Shift Garage, and I'm here with Rich and his race car. Tell us about what you're doing, why you're here, and what's going on.
So yeah, we're gonna race Ultra4 King Hammers this year in the 4400 class.
Tell us what's the 4400 class? What does that mean, and what
So
are the restrictions?
4400 is the unlimited pro unlimited class in Ultra4. So we really, I mean, other than the safety gear that everybody has to have, sky's the limit. There kind of is no rules really. Oh yeah.
What setup do you have and why?
So this car is the chassis of this car started out as a bomber. So we went solid axle front end, solid axle rear end, V8 up front. It's kind of the go-to. The bomber chassis is known for how good it does in the rocks. And so at this race, there's a lot of desert. And so they go through the desert fast. I mean, we can drive this car 100 miles an hour in the desert. So, but we can also go super slow in the rocks.
I mean, is there an advantage to being faster in the rocks than...
Yep. So I guess the saying goes is you're not going to win hammers in the desert, but you're going to lose it in the rocks. You can be 150 miles an hour in the desert and not be able to go over rocks, not be able to make it past the first obstacle.
How long is the race, mileage-wise, and then time-wise? How long is this thing last?
We were told that it's around 225 miles.
How many people finished this race?
Last year, over 100, I believe it was like 100 and around 120 people entered the race, 40 finished.
Dang.
So, and we were not one of them last year.
How many years have you done this?
This is my second year.
Okay.
At Hammers. So
what happened that prevented the finish?
Last year, lost a carrier bearing about 15 miles into the desert. So there again, need four-wheel drive to get through the rocks. So we took front drive line out, finished the desert loop, and then we had to park it.
That you're a normal person, right?
Yep.
Who has a passion to do this, and you're out here and you're doing it, and you're supported by friends and family.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're out here with a NASCAR, $20 million budget, right?
100%. Yeah, we're average people. We go to work, 2 weeks off work to come out here and pre-run the rocks and pre-run the desert and make sure the car is squared away. And then we prep the car all year long. So we're not like some of these big budget teams that are out here. Sometimes if we have to buy something expensive like a motor or transmission, like that puts us down for several months so that we can try to get that money up. For me personally, I wouldn't be able to just go build this car or buy this car and then be like, all right, let's go race it every weekend.
Right.
Like I can't. We got to be very strategic on the races that we do.
And then as far as pit crew, and who makes up the pit crew, what's that look like for these guys?
So it's pretty cool because like all of our pit crew are all volunteers. They came down here on their own dime. They took off their own work from their own jobs to come down here. To pre-run, keep our cars together for us. We've got a really solid team this year. It just kind of all came together kind of by divine, if you will. Just because, I met somebody and it was like, hey, and they saw the car in their shop and they're like, hey, that's an Ultra4 car in your garage. And I'm like, yeah, doesn't everybody have an Ultra4 car in their garage? So it's like when somebody sees it, and they start asking questions and then you're like, well, come down and, you just kind of throw it out there. Come down and pit for us. And they're like, really? And so, and then they get their friends to come and so we've got a solid pit crew this year. Like everybody knows how to turn a wrench. Everybody knows what they're looking at on the cars. And so
you're not only driving, you're not only having to come down here, work on your stuff, you're working on other people, you're taking the role of crew chief on another rig.
Yep.
I think a lot of people don't realize that you totally can, you can, if this is your passion, you can totally do something like this. A lot of people see it as being so far out of reach, right?
And not everybody has to jump into a 4400 car. Right. Like you can jump into stock class.
show us the car. Tour us around. Show us what
So
all the features.
The one thing the 4400 cars can have is there is no limits on shocks. So we run a 4-tube bypass shock in the front, coil over to support the car, and then we have a 6-tube bypass in the rear, and then coil over in the rear. It's got a Ford 9-inch fabbed housing. It's got 40-inch tires, Spider Tracks outers, so we're running 40 spline outers on this car, 35 spline inners on the front. We have a 408 LS, started out as a 60 LS, now it's a stroked 60 LS. It's got 13.1 compression. And then we have a 4L80 transmission. I don't say E anymore because there's nothing electronic about it except for the e-brake.
Gotcha. How much horsepower are you?
So we're about 600 horsepower to the crank, and then we're about 330 to the wheels. So we lose a lot through the transfer case and the transmission in this car because everything's so big. The rear driveline is 250 wall, so it's super thick, super heavy.
Yep.
The rear axle shafts are 40 spline, so the shafts themselves are 1 3/4. So they're about the same size as this tubing.
Jeez.
That's a lot of weight, a lot of rotating weight, so that burns up a ton of horsepower.
So, I mean, if this thing can do 100 miles an hour, you must have got crazy gear reduction in 4-low or dual cases, or what is that?
So we have an Atlas, 3.0 Atlas race case. It's lower than a stock Toyota transfer case. So they're 2.7. This is a 3.0. We are running not crazy low gears in the axles. We're running 513s in the axles, so we can keep the speed up. We're running an overdrive transmission, so that's where we get the speed out of it.
Gotcha.
9-inch in the rear. So myself, the wrong seater over there. My navigator tells me where to go and how to get there and how fast to get there.
All right, so pre-running notes is what people always talk about, and it seems to be most important in the desert because you don't want something to surprise you and crash you out and wrecking you hurt. So one thing that's really hard to do is to take really good notes because it involves a lot of time getting out there, and also takes, usually teams like to have a separate car designated just for pre-running, and our budget doesn't allow that. But since we raced 2 cars and this car was busy, I took out the Mav, and Casey and I went out on the 25 mile an hour speed limit day, and we took pretty decent notes. So we look at the screen here in our easy GPS. You can see that there's lots of flags, and some of these flags are indicating things like race mile markers, like this 32. But these other flags can be showing us where we have G outs, which are basically when you go and it drops you down roughly and brings you back up and your suspension bottoms out. Feel all the G forces. And other areas that are showing you like whoops, which are kind of more like bumps and bouncy type things. And then the other important thing is keys of where to go, because you'll be driving fast and you'll see a fork in the road, and it's hard to know exactly even just looking at your line and where your little arrow is, because sometimes your GPS can show you being a little bit different from the line. And so if you have notes like stay left here, then I mean you can kind of see all these different lines that are coming through here, and those are all different roads and different trails that people have made. So this helps you to know, okay, that's the one to take. So we got our Lawrence in here. Other guys use Garmin, lead nav, stuff like that. Lead nav is usually on a tablet. So when you come in here, I mean, this is generally what it looks like. You can get it so that it has the satellite imagery like on my laptop, but usually in the race situation it makes it more confusing because there's more stuff in there, the lines get kind of buried, it's hard to read the letters. So this has it so it's pretty high contrast, so it's easier to see.
Yes, so in this race, if you break down, if something happens, are you allowed to repair? Do you bring tools? Can your pit crew come out? Can you radio them and over?
So it's a no chase race, so that means that somebody can't come to us if we break down. We can walk to the pit, or another racer can help us get us apart. They made a new rule this year, kind of not super fired up about, but where a racer can't come to bring me apart unless they've already been through that area already.
It's definitely deceiving when you watch it from down here. Right? Everything looks small, but I can only imagine when you get there, the rocks.
And it's like the qualifying course. Like there's a big rock in the middle of the qualifying course that if you don't know that it's there, you're gonna hit it. And if you hit it, you ain't going anywhere because it ain't moving. And so I know there was a guy that hit it today, and a side-by-side, it did not move. And so like those kind of things, like we're not talking about like gravel road. We're not talking about, little rocks. We're talking about full
boulders,
like Volkswagen sized rocks.
Crazy. So you ran qualifying yesterday. How'd the truck perform?
The truck performed amazing. We got our rentability issues figured out. We got some other just silly little things figured out. And so, yeah, it was super solid, super smooth. I didn't push it super hard. Like I said, we were just trying to make it around the course without hurting the car and without crashing. And I mean, I know I could push this car a lot harder, but I'm trying to preserve it. We have 3 laps of just brutal terrain that we have to make it through. So if I spin a bunch of the car on qualifying where it doesn't really make a bit of difference to me where we start, as long as we get to start.
Well, here we are. See, I can't even make it. No, I wanna actually say like how humbled I am about everybody being here on their own dime, like their own time, taking off work, doing whatever they gotta do to be out here, spending money on a race team where we fell a little short of like fuel, so we had to change some fuel stuff. So I appreciate all of you guys chipping in and doing that stuff. And then whenever there's something that needs to be done on the car, like I get pushed out of the way, which is I'm not used to that. So
kind of surprised it worked.
Kind of
pushing him out of the way. Yeah.
It takes a couple people to push me out of the way most of the time, and then I usually still try to like get back involved. But no, it's been a long road to get here. We've had a few issues with the car, which we knew we were going to. Different issues than I thought we were gonna have, but issues nevertheless. And I mean, we got a car that's as best as it can be for tomorrow.
All right, guys, here we are, race day on the start line with our team. How you guys feeling?
Feeling great.
Feeling good?
Feeling good.
Today's the day. The car's running good. You woke up feeling good?
Yep. Feeling great. The car is as good as it's getting.
Any last minute issues or problems you had to work through last night?
We had to put a new rear driveline in. We had to adjust the shocks a little bit at like 11 o'clock. And then just, little stuff, tightening bolts, making sure everything's right. Paint markers, things like that.
real quick, run us through how they're going to start this thing.
So they're going to start us every 30 seconds, two cars every 30 seconds. So we start at 8, so the first cars off the line should be at 8, and then as long as nobody wrecks, then we should all be rolling out of here every 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, that's coming up on us pretty quick, so
it is that.
Good luck, guys. We're excited to see you out there. We'll be on standby in case you need anything.
Appreciate it.
Guys, we're here at Remote Pit. I'm here with Cody Houtchens, crew chief. How are we feeling? What's going on? What's happening?
We're good. We're prepped. We're ready. I think we're set. We're probably about 15 minutes out on cars showing up for some fuel and a look over. And haven't heard anything from them yet.
So we think the car's intact?
Static. They're still moving.
Okay.
Last time I looked, they were doing about 53 through the desert.
And they're going to get some fuel so we could do some calculations and see how far, what miles per gallon they're going to get, right?
Figure out if they need to stop here or what they want to do on main pit or how that's going to work, or if they can make from here full desert loop again and just fuel here and skip main pit. So
got it. And I see everyone's out here, so what's the procedure? They roll in. What do they get? How does this work?
They're going to roll in. It'll be hot, engine running. 2 of the guys in fire suits, helmets on, will fuel the car. Anybody else in a fire suit can touch the car while they're fueling. If not, you just stand off till fueling is done. One man will be on the extinguisher. So we'll walk them in. We'll throw the cone on to get them stopped. I'll start looking around. Christian and Sean are going to be on fuel. Casey will start looking around, and we'll figure out what we need or don't need, anything they ask for.
And then send them off.
And then we'll send them off.
Okay, here we go.
Head into lap 2.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
I want to be done.
I'm not gonna let you quit. You got this.
Until we do.
Nope.
We got a lot of people rooting for you, man. Not even part of your team, but random people.
Finish this race, Rich.